Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
Line of the night. Really, really good.
Amazing. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we?
These people are stone cold crazy. And they are. How in the world can you defend not having a border? Can you defend keeping illegal alien criminals in the country? How else do you defend sexualizing children? You can't. They're indefensible unless you are crazy. You got to be crazy. It's very interesting to see them sit down. And the rest, look, it was a great speech. Great night. I have to, did you see the whole thing? I must admit, I kind of didn't make it to the very, very end. But the thing that really has me gripped right now is, our police officers in New York City under attack, being assaulted by 1,000 thugs in the park, 1,000 against 2 or 3 cops, pelting them with rocks, ice, snowballs. You want to call it a snowball? Fine. We can call some of them snowballs. It's not a snowball fight. It's not just a bunch of kids in the playground or on the block, Sprague Street and Baldwin, right? Just throwing snowballs at each other. My brother and I versus Craig Fox and Chris Guido. No, nothing like that. This was 1,000 versus 3 police officers. I feared for their lives. I felt I could have seen all of those guys rushing the cops and pulling them apart. I would not have faulted them for drawing a weapon. 2 of them wound up in the hospital. And it's really heartbreaking. And to see what Mayor Mamdani did, how dare this guy? How dare he? How dare he? It really was moments like this. I turn to people who have seen it all. I've seen a lot, but I haven't seen it all. Michael Goodwin, for better or worse, the tenure of let's just read that. Yes, here we go. Hey, could you do me a favor, Carlos? Get me the actual sound of that snowball fight. We just had it. The snowball fight itself was so intense, so terrible. You can't call it a snowball fight. It was a riot. 3 cops. And why didn't they send more cops in? Because this administration, the Mamdani administration, doesn't want more crime. They don't want to arrest people. If you arrest people, there's a record of that, a paper record of that. And you got to report it. And guess what? The crime goes up. For better and worse, the tenure of any new major public official is often defined by events in the first 100 days of the term. New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani is certainly no exception. With his awful beginning at City Hall, confirmed again Tuesday, his latest big-time blunder was his expression of icy indifference to police officers being attacked by snowballs in Manhattan. He just said it was a snowball fight. A snowball fight. That's all it was. A snowball fight. Cut 18, please. Cut 18.
From the videos that I've seen, it looks like a snowball fight. I think that there were 2 officers who were facing lacerations on their face.
Call for prosecution of those who built it then?
Look, I've seen the videos of this snowball fight. I think that it was a snowball fight.
It wasn't a snowball fight, for God's sake. All right, this is a mass attack on cops. The cops were called by residents and business owners in the area because they were so worried about what the hell was going on. They couldn't go into the park. Called to break up a large snowball fight in Washington Square Park on Monday afternoon, a group of uniformed officers quickly became the targets. The cops were surrounded, taunted, and then the ice and snow came flying at them. Some officers were struck in the head and face and required medical attention. The mayor's response was as cold as the blizzard. I've seen the videos of kids throwing snowballs at NYPD officers in Washington Square Park, he said on X. Officers, like all city workers, have been out in a historic blizzard, keeping New Yorkers safe and cars moving. Treat them with respect. Like all city workers? No, not all city workers. Not all city workers wear uniforms, pal. Get that through your stupid little head. Cops going through this. Is this what they did in Uganda, perhaps? See, he's not socialized. He doesn't understand America. He hasn't been here long enough. And you know what? There are guys who came to America yesterday who understand America better than this individual. How dare he? This is like the finger. He gave the finger to the cops and actually put it on social media. He literally did that in 2020. He gave the finger to Christopher Columbus statue and put it on social media. He literally did that in 2022. I've seen the videos of kids throwing snowballs at NYPD officers in Washington Square Park. Kids? Kids connotes what? 7, 8, 9? These were teenagers, not kids. And sometimes kids, sometimes not teens. There could 20-somethings in there. The worst criminals. Just because they're young doesn't mean they're angels. Treat them with respect. Strong memo coming. The core problem with the 34-year-old rookie's reaction is that his language is as sloppy as his thinking. Cops are not like all city workers. Their unique training, authority, and responsibility is why concerned New Yorkers called 911 to report the dangerous scene unfolding in the park. They didn't call for scorekeeping clerks to come and observe the mayhem. They wanted cops to come and shut it down and restore peace and order. And so armed and uniformed members of the NYPD were properly dispatched to stop the wild disturbance taking place in a public space. Incredible as it is, it seems to have eluded the mayor that this is precisely because the police officers were doing their jobs that they came under violent attack, with some suffering injuries. This was certainly not the crime of the century, but it doesn't need to be. And it certainly was not the nothing burger that Mayor Mamdani stubbornly continued to claim it was. The final sentence in his statement is a piece of false humility that strikes exactly the wrong tone. If anyone's catching the snowball, it's me, he said. Ha ha. Good one, he's so good. But in the real world, if one of those punks attacking cops threw a snowball at the mayor, his NYPD security detail would be quick to grab the offender and arrest him. But when the cops themselves are attacked, it's no big deal with him. Now, this is the other thing. You know who's going to get points here? The police commissioner, Tish. Because she is savvy enough, right? She sees the optics. She's going to play it, right? She's going to call for something a little bit more. But she's as worse as this guy. She's as clueless as this guy. She's disloyal, I know that. And you know what she's disloyal to? The city of New York. She could have stopped this. The prestige of her family, the status, if she came out for Cuomo at the moment that she was thinking of coming out for Cuomo, this whole nightmare could have been dodged. Could have been head off at the pass. Let's see here. It is no big deal to him when nearly a score of homeless New Yorkers died of hypothermia during January's winter blast. Like most ideologues, he is impervious to evidence that doesn't fit his narrative. Now, there is one thing that seems to animate him, and that's his plan to raise taxes on high-income New Yorkers and spend the cash on free this and that and the other thing. Then, too, he does get excited by every opportunity to denounce Israel. Yes, he does. I noticed something else about him, like a lot of other millennials or Generation Yers or Zers or whatever the hell we're calling them now. They only are really animated when they're making social media videos. They're very dull apart from that. They're very droopy, dull people. But when it's time for social, I remember I met a girl like this once. Very attractive. It was at a gala dinner, right? And she was a reporter for one of the fashion magazines. And she was this droopy, mousy little thing. Attractive, no doubt attractive. And I introduced her to some people at the table because she was a reporter and I thought she might want to get to know some people, right? And shy. Anyway, I was like, not bad looking, but boy, no personality. Then she writes up a little story about the thing, and guess who she takes a shot at? Me. She just called me out for, I don't know what I did. It was some joke I said or whatever. She called me obnoxious. Can you believe that? Me? Obnoxious? Ha 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 ha. Anyway, I look her up on Instagram. Oh boy. Talk about a tart, right? All these, her finger in her mouth, her tongue out, right? Sexy this, tits everywhere, excuse me. But in real life, see, some people think if it doesn't happen online, it doesn't really happen. As for the snowball attacks on cops, it was left to Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch to capture the deeper meaning of the moment, which she did in a bold statement of her own on the incident. She says, I want to be very clear. And number one, you just lost me with that. I want to be very clear. You know who that sounds like? It sounds like a Democrat winding up, right? Kamala Harris used to say, let me be very clear. Joe Biden, let me be very clear. She says the behavior depicted is disgraceful and it's criminal. And the mayor could take lessons about how to say, that's it. Wait, well, it's under investigation. Hey, do me a favor. It's under investigation. What about in 2017 when they threw the water on the cops? See, this has been going on for a long time. They've been undermining and delegitimizing law enforcement for decades. And now Jessica Tisch wants to call it out as disgraceful. Where was she during Black Lives Matter? I wonder what she was saying then. Because she's been part of the problem. This is the police commissioner, folks, and I know people who think, oh, wow, this is... Nope. Let me see here. Unions representing officers and detectives also underscored the seriousness of the event. Yes, I had my Scott Monroe on yesterday. It wasn't a fight. The cops didn't throw snowballs at anybody. It was an attack on them because they are cops. Is it possible he doesn't know the difference, Mamdani? The only virtue of Mamdani's words is that they accurately capture his lack of commitment to public safety. It's worth recalling that he was part of the poisonous defund the police swamp several years ago and called the NYPD racist and a rogue agency. That's really something. This has been going on for a right time. Right there, Carlos, right? So this is not brand new. Those of us who love the cops, who've been supporting the cops, who know that institution. This happened under Bill de Blasio. How many mayors ago was that? Go ahead.
Videos showing New York City police being doused with water are sparking outrage. The footage was taken in Brooklyn over the weekend. Police were responding to a call about a disorderly group. At one point, someone poured a bucket of water on an officer. A similar incident was captured in Harlem. Officers were making an arrest when they were pelted. One was hit on the head with a bucket. NYPD Chief Terrence Monahan called the videos reprehensible and encouraged New Yorkers to treat officers with respect. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio also condemned the incidents. No arrests were made in either cases, but the NYPD is investigating.
What happened since? Investigating. Anybody arrested? No. Pete, hello? What's going on? Pete, hello? Are you there?
Hey, Greg, how you doing? I'm here. Quick question. Why doesn't one of these jerk-off reporters during the press conference ask the mayor that when he's out in public with his security detail, if 30 or 40 people start pelting him with snowballs and he's bleeding, if they're going to be arrested, if there's going to be a problem with that?
Hey, better yet, why don't some of these, what did you call them? Let's not use that phrase. But why don't they go in there with snowballs? Why don't we go in there with snowballs and start throwing at them in the middle of a press conference? Is that a snowball fight?
Exactly.
I wouldn't do it because I'm afraid I might get shot. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Huh. All right, pal. I appreciate it. Let's do one more. Kelly, are you there? Hello?
I am here. Hi, Greg. My thing is, what if the cops just picked up snowballs and started throwing them back at the kids, and one of the kids got hurt? What kind of a narrative would the news be playing then?
Well, fortunately, the cops did. I mean, it was not a kind of that. Wasn't that situation? It wasn't that situation, right? I think that would have been the least. I don't know. You know what I hate, quite frankly? This word narrative. I use it all the time. Don't get me wrong, but you know what I mean? It used to be facts. Things happened. The narrative of something, right? The narrative. That's all anybody seems to care about, the narrative. Anybody. Anyway, did you see the other? There were more than one video. These guys were ambushed all over town, these cops. Did you see the other videos?
I did.
Horrific. And for that guy to just blow it off is really something else. All right. I appreciate it. We'll have a few more highlights of last night. Oh, and the Brits. It's funny that the Brits really care about this sex scandal with Epstein, but they did not care about teenage girls being raped by Pakistani gangs for years. For years, that was going on. And it was like, well, we'd rather not make a fuss out of it. But the emailed that Jeffrey Epstein, it could topple the monarchy, for crying out loud. Be right back.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Let's do one more highlight that I really liked from last night. Cut 10, if you don't mind. American citizens, right? America, our government, our tax dollars, the priority should be American citizens, right? It's kind of a slam dunk. Apparently not. Cut 10, please. Cut 10.
So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Ashamed. How can you not affirm that? And it's not like, okay, I'm not going to stand to anything President Trump says. So the State of the Union is over. Did you get a look at that crazy lady from Delaware? Timothy McBride? Yeah, just call her Timothy. He hates that. Be right back.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
How many planes do we have in the Middle East right now? We have more planes over there in the Middle East than we had back in 2002, 2003 when we launched the invasion of Iraq. That is a lot of planes. And it looks like we're going to do something really big and really bad in a good way, in a weird way, but bad in the accurate way. On Iran. Can't have them having nuclear weapons. I hope these nut jobs make the right concessions. I don't want to deal with it myself personally. Now, hey, the FBI, I don't want to talk about Nancy Guthrie too much, but the FBI is crawling all over her house. I mean, don't they have possibly every shred of information from that house? They're going back for more. What else could be there? Why are they there? Why are they there? I wonder. I don't know. Nancy Guthrie still missing after all this time. Is she alive? Is she dead? I hope they find her. It would be great if she's alive. I want it to be done, but I don't think. I said this early on. It's kind of depressing in a way. You'll notice that everybody has kind of stopped covering it relentlessly like they were. I knew at the time this can't go on forever. We're going to have to get on with our lives. I have to get on with my life. I can't be worrying about this woman that I've never met. I can't just spend too much time on it, and I can't do many hours of TV, radio, whatever. And it's interesting to me that the networks knew that as well, but that's basically exploiting it, right? They were exploiting it, and they start to think, oh, now we have a lot of airplanes over there. You know what they have? I just saw a fleet of Iranian drones. Now, those drones aren't exactly big and like they can't drop a Hellfire missile. They look like they can possibly take a picture of your backyard, right? Those kinds of drones. You ever get a drone? You ever play with a drone for like 20 minutes? It's a fascinating thing, but somehow it either gets boring or it breaks and you get on with your life. I would really love to be a drone enthusiast, but I just don't think I have the attention span. Hey, that was a nice moment. I'm learning more about the guy who got the Medal of Honor. He was 100 years old, Royce Williams. The thing I noticed as Royce was getting the award, he had Naval Aviator wings and he also had NFO wings, Naval Flight Officer wings. It's a little bit unusual to have both. President Trump giving the guy, actually, before we do that, did you stay up for the entire speech for real? Because if you didn't, we have the final 3 minutes, and the closing was powerful, I'm told, because I quite frankly didn't make it, even though it was a great speech. Cut 7, if you don't mind. Cut 7 as President Trump brings it home.
From empty marshes and wide open plains, we raised up the world's greatest cities. Together we mastered the world's mightiest industries and shattered history's monstrous tyrannies. And we liberated millions from the chains of fascism, communism, oppression, and terror. Americans lifted humanity into the skies on the wings of aluminum and steel. And then we launched mankind into the stars on rockets powered by sheer American will and unyielding American pride. We wired the globe with our ingenuity. We captivated the planet with American culture. And now we are pioneering the next great American breakthroughs that will change the entire world. All of this and so much more is the enduring legacy, unmatched glory of the hardworking patriots who built and defended this country and who still carry the hopes and freedoms on all of humanity's backs. For years they were forgotten, betrayed, and cast aside. But that great betrayal is over, and they will never be forgotten again. Because when the world needs courage, daring, vision, and inspiration, it is still turning to America. And when God needs a nation to work his miracles, he knows exactly who to ask. There is no challenge Americans cannot overcome, no frontier too vast for us to conquer, no dream too bold for us to chase, no horizon too distant for us to claim. For our destiny is written by the hand of providence, and these first 250 years were just the beginning. From the rugged border towns of Texas to the heartland villages of Michigan, from the sun-kissed shores of Florida to the endless fields of the Dakotas, and from the historic streets of Philadelphia to right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the golden age of America is upon us. The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Well done, President Trump. I'm looking at Ray Kelly right now on Fox News. How about that? He looks good, sounds good, doing his thing. You know, one day I wish I had my face as angular as he. I have a bit of a round face. He has an angular face. You know, it's a little bit cut like that. It's very cool. Hey, turn on Fox if you would for a second. He's talking about the snowball stuff.
It's just going to add to concerns about the new mayor. It just doesn't make sense to sort of write this off as a snowball fight. This is assault. Yeah. And there's an injuries here, and that's how you define an assault. So, as I said, I think the commissioner is doing the right thing in checking the film, checking the videos, and doing the investigation to see if it rises to a crime.
I just want to really quickly finish off with this exchange on the relationship with Ma'am Donnie and Jessica Tisch, who took the other side of this. Listen.
I think people are wondering why you and the police commissioner don't seem to be on the same page regarding the snowball fight. You know, is there a distance between you and the police commissioner when it comes to this?
I've said again and again of my views on this snowball fight, and I'm appreciative of the work that my police commissioner does and the work that we are doing to keep New Yorkers safe across this city, and that's the work that I'm looking forward to continuing.
Yeah, because the police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, called this disgraceful and criminal. With the few seconds I have left, to your point, Commissioner, elections have consequences. Real quick, final thought.
Well, they sure do. And again, the mayor is only in office 2 months here. So we're still feeling him out, and we're very concerned about some of the radical things that he's mentioned in the past, including certainly disrespecting the New York City Police Department. And I submit have done a terrific job in the last few years, several years. Mm-hmm. He's called them racist. He's called them biased. He says they cause crime. So this is not warming the hearts of police officers as far as their feelings.
And that's
to the
a problem.
mayor.
That is a problem. We've got to back our blue. Commissioner, it's a pleasure to have you back on the program. Good to see you.
Thank you, Sandra.
Okay.
See
John?
you.
I like it. I'm proud of him. I'm so proud of him. Hey, let's face it. We don't see eye to eye on everything. I mean, I'm a little bit tougher on the police commissioner. I don't think the tweet was sufficient. But you know what? Hey, look, I got to defer to him. Right? I think he knows a little bit more about policing than I do. But wow. He says it's a snowball fight. That mayor. Hey, did you see the crazy counter address they had? Like, they had counter programming to the State of the Union. And there was yelling and screaming, and Joy Reid came, and was Whoopi there, and all this crazy stuff. And that maniac who stormed the church, he was there. Is that the Democrat counterparty? Is that going to work for them? I don't think so. Yes, Pat. Hello. How are you?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Good.
First off, thank you for your service to our country. I'm retired from the NYPD. I had the honor of working under your father not once but twice. And I could tell you, as a young cop in the 80s and the early 90s, we had snowball fights in the projects with the young kids. Good, clean fun with the kids who had respect for cops. That was not in any way, shape, or form a snowball fight. That was an out-and-out assault. Your father calls it like he sees it. The mayor will never see it. And what are we going to wait till? In the springtime, we'll have a rock fight? And maybe a cop. There's an inherent risk when you become a New York City police officer, and we all know it. But that risk doesn't mean to go out and be pelted by ice balls by a group of thugs. A group of absolute thugs that should be arrested, charged. But that won't happen. Our PBA president, our detective president, they're correct in their assessment of saying that the mayor, just does not have their back. And I'll tell you in closing, those thugs are lucky that your father isn't the police commissioner for a third time.
Well, thank you, Pat, very much. Yeah, I don't think they would have messed with the cops with Ray Kelly there. And quite frankly, there probably would have been a lot more than 3 cops in that park if Ray Kelly were the commissioner. See, Ray Kelly had not only great administrative managerial skills, but he also had incredible operational experience and skills. And the two of those together, you know, you often find an operational guy who can't administrate or an administrator who can't operate. And he could do both. And also, you know, knew about aggressive law enforcement, personally arrested 3,000 people, also understood the law, had 2 law degrees, including one from NYU, a master's of law, a lawyer. It's a very unusual, I'll say, historic kind of coming together of skills and integrity. Thank you very much. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. I really want to know more about what the hell's going on with the Jeffrey Epstein and the UK. But why wouldn't those wussies, those effete, hoity-toity, tea-drinking wussies, do more to protect teenage girls in the UK who are being preyed upon, not by Jeffrey Epstein, but by Pakistani rape gangs? It was going on in plain sight, and the reason why they wouldn't crack down? Because of political correctness. They were afraid. Somebody might say we're racist. Experts say this flu season is the worst we've seen in 25 years. Either way, you know how this goes. Every year, someone in my family gets sick, then everyone gets sick, and suddenly you're fighting to see a doctor. We're stuck waiting in a crowded urgent care. Not this year. I'm ready. I ordered a medical emergency kit, and it's been a lifesaver. My kit is stocked with essential prescription medications, antibiotics like a generic Z-Pack to help you recover faster, amoxicillin for pneumonia, strep throat, and ear infections, prescriptions for nausea, UTIs, and they even have some ivermectin in there. It's simple. Match your symptoms in the guidebook or call the telemedicine doctor standing by. Start treatment early. Feel better faster. No waiting rooms. No pharmacy lines. I love my medical emergency kit, and you should get one too. I got you $45 off when you use my code Greg, G-R-E-G. Just go to urgentcarekit.com/Greg. urgentcarekit.com/Greg. And that promo code is Greg, G-R-E-G.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Oh boy, another prominent businessman going down for child sex stuff. This doesn't have to do with Epstein. It has something to do with a guy who was on, what do they call that show? Not The Apprentice. What's that show where you have a Shark Tank, where you have a great idea, or maybe it's a great idea. You pitch it on the sharks, the rich people, Barbara Corcoran, Mr. Wonderful, whatever his real name is, and Mark Cuban and the other guy. So this guy, Bobby Edwards, was on the show. He's under arrest now for child sexual exploitation. And it looks like child porn stuff. Bobby Edwards, he's in Utah, and he's married to a guy, and they're bringing up 4 kids. I got an issue with that, folks. I do. I do not think that gay people should be raising children. Sorry. It's really fascinating. I don't think there should be gay marriage for that matter. It's like no. I'm not going to hassle anybody. But that was a mainstream point of view in 2008 in my adult lifetime. That was a mainstream point of view. And now it can get you in. All right. Here he is on the Shark Tank a few years ago. Hit it.
I don't accept that. If you're interested, if you really want a shark, then you would entertain that seriously.
Well, the other issue is the 10% and the value of that in a year or 2 years.
You're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Okay.
Right. So you're talking about wanting to get value for where you see the company going, and that's why you think it's worth $7 million. Then you talk about, boy, if only you had a shark who could get your calls taken, who can help you get in retail. So you're obviously not valuing that, because if you truly did value that, you would not say, look, we're already to 7 million. You would have a value assigned to that could take you to 14 or 21, right, and you wouldn't argue about 5%. That's the part that doesn't jive. I'm out.
Okay.
There's something about you that I'm not believing.
Ooh. I
trust your mom. Well, you're hopping and weaving a lot, I feel, and it's making me more nervous as I listen. I'm definitely out.
Bobby gets a little excited.
I get excited.
Really is. He's very trustworthy.
I'm just coming back and forth. I apologize if I seem scattered.
A shark can't get interested in 5%. I'm not doing it for less than 10, and never would I.
Actually, we're going to take Lori's offer.
There you go.
Great. I know it helps a lot of people. I do know that. Yeah, I know that this really works.
It does work.
Congratulations, guys.
All right. Cheers.
All right. The rest is history. Squatty Potty was pretty successful. But Robert Edwards, Barbara Corcoran was right about that guy. There's something seriously off about him. He was arrested for allegedly buying and receiving a trove of images of child sex abuse material from March of 2021 until November of 2025, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office in Utah, the entrepreneur and co-founder of the specialized toilet stool that's designed to ease bowel movements, was indicted by a federal grand jury on February 10th and cuffed in Washington County 2 days later. In March 2021, an undercover FBI agent joined a group chat used to trade child sexual abuse material. In the group chat, there was a meeting room where members viewed a collection of the vile content being streamed on a main screen. May 2025, FBI agents also learned that Edwards may have purchased additional child sexual abuse material through his PayPal account, which was flagged for 4 suspicious transactions. All right, this guy's in, looks like big trouble. Of course, he co-founded Potty Squatty in 2011 with his mother Judy's constipation issues. The mother-son duo successfully pitched the footstool for aiding bathroom business to investor Lori Greiner on Shark Tank. The product turned the Utah family into multimillionaires. Edwards returns to court on March 2nd for a detention hearing. I think that means he's in right now for the time being. The other thing I want to highlight is one of our local heroes here, Heather McDonald. She writes for the Manhattan Institute. She's a researcher, very interesting thinker, anti-woke. And she was this video I'm about to play, it was just retweeted by Elon Musk. And she lays down some serious heavy-duty truth. All right? Listen to this. Heather McDonald.
You could get rid of all police shootings of civilians tomorrow, and it would have virtually no effect on the black death by homicide rate. Blacks between the ages of 10 and 25 die of gun homicide at 25 times the rate of whites in that age category. And they're not being killed by the cops. They're being killed by other blacks. And nobody wants to talk about it. We're supposed to believe that we're all racist. It's the media that's racist. They don't give a damn about black lives. They don't give a damn about the dozens of blacks who are killed by homicide every single day. That's more than all white and Hispanic homicide victims combined, even though, as we said, blacks are 13% of the population. Virtually none of those black homicide victims gets covered. We are not saying their names because they're killed by other blacks, and we don't want to talk about that. So the Ferguson effect says when you demonize the cops back off. And guess what happens? When the cops stop making stops, when they stop looking at hot spots where shootings have happened, and they back off, criminals get emboldened, and more black lives are taken. That's what happened after the Ferguson riots, after the George Floyd race riots in 2020. We had an even greater meltdown. We had every single American elite institution declaring it was racist to the core. And the cops were, of course, as usual, one of the main targets of this. 2020 saw the largest one-year increase in homicide in this nation's history, 29%, and thousands more black lives were taken. That's what happens when you demonize the cops.
Heather McDonald, been a guest on this show many, many times. There's a hell of a lot of truth there. Now, I'm not going to stick up for the media because they're terrible. But one thing about the media, what is media, by the way? What's the definition of media? Media is the plural of medium. So any information that travels through something, or anything that travels through something, or is portrayed through something. Could be a canvas, right? But since you have an abundance of black-on-black crime, it becomes less newsworthy. That's part of the equation that also is not mentioned. Strangely enough, new. What's news? News. What's new and different? What's unusual? That's part of it. A little bit, but that's part of it. All right, there's the music to be continued in moments, several moments. I will be with you in several moments.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.